G'day, this is Mr. Thompson, and this is the first video of, I know it might be 2 or 3 videos, I'm not sure how many, but to show you how to design your 3D printable combat robot. So we're going to start by making a wheel, and the wheel will look something like that, maybe not exactly like that, but something like that. And the wheel has to fit onto this N20 gear motor that we're going to use. So this is the motor that we use that drives, well, it's a motor and a gearbox that drives the wheels to our combat robots. And you can see, if I zoom in here, you can see the axle there has got a flat section. I guess you might call it a keyway or something, I guess, that that means that the wheel grips and doesn't spin, doesn't slip when that motor or when that axle spins. So if we look here at what we're going to design, you can see that's the flat section there. And we've got this little slot here that allows the hole to expand, I guess, a little bit so that you can slide it over the top of the axle. Just gives a bit of flexibility. So we're going to design something that looks a bit like that. So let's get started. I'm going to go File, New Design, like that. And I'm going to start with a sketch. So create a sketch, and you know what? I'm going to use that plane there, select that plane there, and I'm going to start by making a circle. So on my keyboard, C for circle, and click in the center there, right at the origin. Click once and release, and then come out. Now I'm going to start by making the hub of the wheel, and the hub is only 8 millimeters in diameter. So if I type 8 here and then press enter, there's my circle. Now I'm using a wheel mouse, which makes it really easy to zoom. So I'm going to hover over the center there and I'm going to zoom in. If you haven't got a wheel mouse, you might want to pinch or stretch your laptop trackpad and zoom that way, or you might want to use the zoom tools down the bottom here. But by far the easiest way to use Fusion is if you've got a mouse with a wheel on it, and you can zoom in and out like that. And wherever you put your mouse, you can see it zooms differently wherever you point your mouse. So if I want to zoom in on that particular spot there, I can zoom in. So I usually hover my mouse over the bit that I want to see. All right. Anyway, there's our circle. In fact, I'm going to grab that and move that label outside a little bit because I want to do some more detail inside here. All right, I want another circle. So C for circle again, and clicking on the center there, I'm going to come out. This time, I'm going to come out 3.25 millimeters. And I've found, even though the shaft of the gear motor is 3 millimeters, when you 3D print an object, you don't always get exactly the size hole that you specify, because usually the filament expands a little bit. I've found that 3.25 works for me. If that doesn't work for you, you might want to do a trial print, and if it doesn't work, come back and change this dimension, because you can. That's one of the nice things about CAD, is you can come back and change your dimensions later, and generally your part will still work. It'll just change that one dimension. All right, so again, I'm going to grab that and move that out here a little bit. So that's 3.25 millimeters. Now I want to put that that slot, that horizontal slot we had before. I'm going to use a rectangle for that. So on my keypad, on my keyboard, R for rectangle, the letter R, and I want a center rectangle like that, because I want to start my rectangle by clicking in the center and then stretching it out. Now the size of my rectangle, I want 6 millimeters, so 6, and then tab, and then 1, so 6 and 1, and enter, and there's the slot. We're not going to use both sides of the slot, we'll only use one side, but we'll sort that out later. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit more, and now I want to draw a line, probably from about here down to about here. So L on my keyboard, L for line, and I'm going to start up here somewhere, about there somewhere, I guess, and I'm going to come down and actually, can you see that's at 90 degrees? Can you see if I move that? So I'm going to make sure My line is at 90 degrees, and I'm going to make sure my line starts on that line there on the circle and finishes on the edge of the circle like that. Okay, and you see that it's already automatically put a vertical constraint on that line, which is good. All right, press escape. Now I want to specify the distance. How far has that line got to be from the center? So I'm going to do D for dimension, click on the center point and release, and then click on this line here. And you know what, I'm just going to zoom out a bit because I want to come down here. And that distance there, I want that distance there to be 1.25 millimeters. And again, that's just by trial and error. I've found that that's the distance that works, that fits on the shaft of the motor. So that works for me. All right, so I guess now we've got the sketch that we need, and now we need to turn that two-dimensional sketch into a three-dimensional hub for the wheel. So I'm going to press E on my keyboard, E for extrude, and that opens up the extrude tool. And so I guess I'm going to click on that section there, and this section here, all the bits that I want to be solid, I'm going to zoom in, click on there, and click on there, and you can see I've clicked on the bits that I want to be solid, and I've left unclicked the bits that I want to make the hole out of, if that makes sense. Now, just whenever I do an extrude, I like to come up here to the view cube and drag that a little bit so I can see what's going on. And I'm going to extrude like that. Now, how deep do I want this to be? I think I want this to be 5 millimeters deep. So if I just type like 5, like that, and hit OK, there we go. And if I click on the home button up here, there we go. So that's the hub of my wheel. All right, I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the rim of the wheel. So if I think what I might do is I might turn that around to the back like that, and I might click on, I might create a new sketch. So click on create new sketch, and this time I'll create a sketch on the back of my wheel like that, on the back of the hub. So select like that, and now I'm going to create the hub. So that's another the rim. So that's another circle, C for circle, and I guess I'm going to I'll start with the outside. Now, how big a wheel do you want? I guess I'm thinking I might make it about a 40 millimeter diameter hub. So if I type 40 and then enter, that's a 40 millimeter diameter. Again, I'm going to take my measurement and just drag it outside so I can see what's going on inside. Okay, now, of course, you can decide how big you want your wheel to be. You can customize your robot. I would suggest no smaller than about 30 millimeters and no bigger than about 45 millimeters. Otherwise, it's not going to fit the chassis of the robot that we're going to build. So I've gone 40. And again, this is something you can come back and change later. So if you get it wrong, you can come back in and change that later. Okay, I'm going to use this offset tool. So I can use the letter O for offset, or I can just click on the offset tool there, or if you can't see it there, you might have to go modify offset like that. But as I said, I'm just going to use O for offset, so O on my keyboard, and I'm going to click on this rim here, and you can see that that red line has created an offset. Now I want the outside of my circle to be 40 millimeters, and I've already done that, so I want my offside to be inside the circle. So I'm going to make an offset of, let's see, I think I'm going to go negative, how far? Let's see what 3 looks like. Negative 3, negative 2 millimeters. I think that's a good offset. Okay, so negative means it's coming inside. Now, of course, if it goes the wrong way, if you find it comes inside and you want to go outside, you just change the sign from negative to positive. So if positive, sometimes positive goes inside and you have to change it to a negative to make it go outside. You get the idea. If it's wrong, change the sign. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK like that. Okay, so far so good. That's my rim. And you know what? I think that'll do for now. Let's just start with that. So now I press extrude, E for extrude, and I'm going to click on just that rim. And again, I'm going to just use my view cube so I can see what's going on. Oh, can you see that? It's trying to push it the wrong way. So I'm going to come back this way. That's hard to see, isn't it? Let me just press the home button there so you can see what's going on. What I want is I want my rim to come back this way until it's level with that surface there. So looking at my options here, so I want, instead of distance, I'm going to go to object. So I'm going to extrude all the way to, see how the blue select, or the select button is blue. That means it's waiting for me to select the object that I want to extrude to. So I want to extrude to this surface here. So if I click there, can you see that's extruded all the way till it's lined up with that surface there? Okay, now I'm going to click OK, like that. And actually, if we come up here, we can see I've now got body 1, which is my hub, and body 2, which is my rim. When we put spokes in, we're going to join those two together. In fact, let's do that now. Let's create some spokes. So I'm going to just click on right. So I'm looking at my, in fact, or actually, you know what? I'm actually going to come back and look at the back again. Like that. Okay, and I'm going to create another sketch. So another sketch again on the back section here, like that. And now I've got to do a sketch. Now I'm going to do a spoke. I'm going to do one spoke, and then I'm going to repeat that spoke. So I guess I'll do L for line. And you know what? Where do I want the line from? I don't really want the line from the center. I might do the line from here, eh? So what if I click? Oh, do I want it from there? I might even click here, you know. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. I'll click here. So start my line from there and make my line come all the way up to here, like that. Okay, and escape. Now let's see, that's, oh, can you see what's happened there? Let me think, what's the best way to do this? No, okay, that's all right. I haven't constrained that line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to constrain it. So I'm going to click on this, this vertical constraint here, click on that line once, and then click on the center of the circle. Is that going to work for me? Oh, there we go. So I clicked on the center of the circle and I clicked on that point, and it's make sure that those are aligned vertically. And now if I press escape, can you see that line's black now? So it's fully constrained. I can't move it anymore. Oh, I can move it a bit that way, can't I? So I guess what I've got to do now is I've got to make that point there coincident. So I click on that one there. If I click on, actually let me escape a few times. If I click on coincident constraint, click on that point there and that line there, and then that's now told Fusion that that point there's always got to be on that inside of the circle there. Escape again. Let me see. Can I move anything else? No? Okay, so that's good. My line now, that center line there is fully constrained. Now I'm going to click on that line there. I said it was a center line. At the moment, it's not a center line. I'm going to make it a center line by clicking on center line like that. Now it's a center line because that's going to be the center of my spoke. Zooming in a bit. Now I'm going to do an offset. So click on offset and click on that line. Oh, click on that line there. Now I want two sides. I don't want it to just come out one side. I want it to come out both sides of that center line. And I guess, yeah, 1 millimeter is pretty good. So that'll give me 1 millimeter in each direction. So that means my spoke is 2 millimeters wide. I like that. Okay. Now, if I click on OK there, yeah, that'll do nicely. Now, there's a problem here. I don't know if you can see the problem. If I zoom in like that, see how that line hasn't come all the way down? So I'm going to do a modify extend. If I click here, see how that extends the line to there? Okay, that one's, yeah, that's right. Okay, that's good. So it's extended the line all the way down so it's touching there. So now if I press escape, that's important because later I'm going to want to extrude this, and if that line wasn't touching that line there, then this region wouldn't be fully surrounded. It wouldn't be a closed region and I wouldn't be able to extrude it. All right, so I'm escaping there. Now what I want to do, that's one spoke. I want to repeat that spoke all the way around. I want to make a circular pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go create circular pattern like that. Now, which objects do I want to make the pattern out of? Well, I guess that line there and that line there. They're the objects that I want to repeat. And the center point, if I click on select the center point, so that I can now come and select the center point. I want the center point to be the very center of that circle there, like that. And if I zoom out, can you see it's now put in 3 spokes? But I want more than 3 spokes, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to go 4 spokes, 5 spokes. How many spokes do we want? 6 is kind of nice, or 7. I think I might go 6. So there's my 6 spokes. So now I click on OK, and there we go. Now, E for extrude, and I'm going to select those spokes like that, because I want to turn those spokes. Actually, that one I've got to select twice because it's got that center line down the middle. All right, and again, I like to just rock over to see what I'm doing, because now I can see which direction I want to extrude. And I actually need to extrude this way, don't I? So back out that way. How far do I want to go? I think let's zoom in a little bit. I think I don't want to go 5 millimeters. I think I might just go -2 millimeters like that, because I don't want my spokes to be so big that they make the wheel really heavy. That's enough for my spokes, okay? And now here's another important thing. My operation has got to be a join operation. And what that'll do, that means these spokes here will join that body there, the rim, to the hub. It'll actually join them all together. So at the moment, I've got 2 bodies. That's the rim and the hub. As soon as I click OK, I'll just have the one body. Okay, like that. And now you can see I've just got the one body. That's my wheel. So that's looking pretty good. I think there's only one more thing I've got to do. When we make these wheels, we usually put a rubber band around the outside to give it grip. Otherwise, it just slips. So to do that, what I like to do is just put a little recess there, like a groove that the rubber band will fit into. Now, to make that happen, I'm going to come around to the back, and I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to create a sketch on this back plane here, like that, and I'm going to do C for circle, and click on the center, and I'm going to come out to here, and I'm going to come out just, I don't know, about there, I guess. I'm just going to do it by eye for now, and I'll fix it up and make it exact in a minute. Okay, so just by eye, I'm just going to do that. And now I'm going to do D for dimension, and I'm going to click there, and then I'm going to click there. Okay, and now it's going to ask me how far, what distance do we want between those 2 circles. And you know what, I'm thinking, what am I thinking? I'm looking at my diagram to see what I've done. I think I've done about 0.5 millimeter, so 0.5 there. Okay, so now that distance there between those 2 circles is 0.5 millimeters, which is enough to make a little recess so that my rubber band won't slip off the side of the wheel, but my rubber band will also protrude out far enough that it's going to grip onto the table or the floor. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to extrude that surface. So watch this, I'm going to do E for extrude, then I'm going to select that region there. Now, this one's a bit trickier. I want my extrude to be a cut, but I don't want it to start from there. So I'm going to start the extrude at an offset. And how much offset? I'm thinking about, let's see, I'm going to go 0.8 millimeters. 0.8. Now, why did I choose 0.8? Let me show you what that's going to do. I chose 0.8 because in a 3D printer, your walls are typically 0.2 or 0.4 millimeters thick. So I usually do, when I do small distances, I usually do multiples of 0.4. So I put 0.8 and direction 1, and I want to go to object, and I want it to go, you can't see what's happening yet. I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to select the other side of the wheel there, and that's going to create a cut. But at the moment, that's cutting from 0.8 in here all the way to the other side. But I want that to be, again, I want that to be 0.8, like that. So let me have a look and see what's happening there. Oh, that hasn't worked. That needs to be a negative 0.8. That's better. Can you see what? Can you see 0.8 was coming out this side? Negative 0.8 means my my cut is starting here, and this one here, I think that needs to be a negative as well. Yeah, that's come out too far, so that needs to be a negative 0.8 as well, like that. And now when I press OK, this might be a bit easier to see what's going on. So it's a cut operation. It starts from 0.8 on this side of the plane, and it finishes 0.8 before that surface there, and it's a cut operation. So if I click OK, now can you see a bit better now what's happened there? You can see it's created a little recess that I can glue a rubber band into. So that's looking pretty good. We're almost done. One more thing I'm going to do now is I'm just going to see these sharp edges here. When you 3D print something, any sharp corners like that are a bit of a weakness, and I think that I need to make those a bit stronger. So I'm going to use this fillet tool. So if I click on fillet like that, just move that out of the way, make sure I'm zoomed in, and I'm going to click on these lines here, these edges here. You can see I can click through an object. So let me see, there's one there. Oh, that's hard to see. I'm just going to rotate a bit so I can see what's going on. Yikes. That one there. Oh, that's hard to see, isn't it? Oh, yeah, that one there. Trying to find the other one. There it is. That one there. Actually, you know what? It's probably easier if I come from the other side. Scroll around here. Whoop. If I come from the other side, it's probably a little bit easier. That one there. That one there. That one there. That one there. And that one there. So now, let me just move it around so I can see. Can you see I've selected all of those sort of corners there. They're all selected. 12 edges and 12, that sounds right, because I've got 6 spokes and each spoke has got 2 edges. And I'm going to make it let's try 1 millimeter, see what that looks like. See how it's put fillets in there? What if I try 2? That looks quite nice, doesn't it? If I go too big, it's not going to work. So if I went 5, it would complain because that's not going to fit. But 3 doesn't fit as well. I think 2 is probably the best I'm going to get. So depending on the size, or how many spokes you've got, you might find 1 works or 2 works, but I'm going to use 2 millimeter fillets like that. Okay, click on OK. Look, if you want to get really fancy, you can fillet those ones as well. I'm not going to worry so much about those. I don't think they're going to be under as much stress. Click on Home. Okay, and there's my wheel. I think that's ready to go. So now I can save that, and we are done. So that's the end of this video. The next video I'll give you for next week, I'll show you how to actually create the chassis for the robot. You know what? One more thing. How do you 3D print this? You're going to go Utilities. You're going to click on Make, 3D Print, like that. Preparation type, you want to do an export, because you want to export your wheel to an STL file. So export, you'll have to actually click on the wheel, because that's the body. You have to tell it what you want to export. There's only one body here, but you've still got to say what you're going to do. We're going to click on OK, and give it a name. I don't know, call it, what do we say, 40 millimeter wheel? 40 millimeter wheel, like that. STL file, that's correct. I want to save it to, actually, you know what? The best thing for you to do would be to save it to one of the USB drives that we've got in the room. So you click here and select the D drive, put the USB stick in, find the USB stick over here, and select that down here. Then click on Save. I'm not going to do it because, I guess I can. Click on Save, and that exports the STL file. Then you can take the STL file over to the computer that's got the 3D printer on it, open it up in Bamboo Studio, and you can print that. So Mr. Nidek or Mr. Wilmot or someone else who knows how to use the 3D printers can show you how to do that. All right, I think that'll do.